Hello, hello, Dr. Brett Spradlin here, Divine Design, Natural Health, Cleveland, Tennessee. Is there anybody that wants to learn anything here? Yeah. Excellent. Today is August 18th, and this is a brand new, I think it's going to be a series. This is episode 1. This is called Case Studies of Individuals, also known as CSI. Let's get right into this. Okay, you guys ready? Take your notes. Take your notes. In the summer of 2022, I had the wonderful, auspicious privilege of being selected for jury duty, as I'm sure many of you have been. Case 1 was, without getting into too many details, was possession with intent to distribute meth, alprazolam, and clonazepam. Now, I'm not going to throw any names in there. Nobody knows who these people are. But the alprazolam, also known as Xanax, many of you would know as an anxiety drug. The clonazepam, also a psychiatric medication used for seizures. So one attorney mentioned her love of NCIS, and I didn't know what that was. I had to go home and look it up. I was kind of taking notes at the time. I was thinking, wow, I'm watching how TV has affected the administration of law. Immediately I saw this. So I had to figure out what NCIS was. It's Naval Criminal Investigative Services or something like that, which investigates criminal activities related to the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps. And how she mentioned her love of Law and Order on television. And I thought, why is an attorney saying this in a court of law? When the other attorney posed the question of drug addiction or drug conviction of any jury's members, or the jury members' relatives, the result was absolutely astounding. Every hand in the room went up. In other words, the lawyer asked, they were trying to determine jury duty, jury selection. And so the lawyer was saying, has anyone in this room had anyone's family or a member of family addicted to drugs? And every hand went up. And then, because they're trying to select somebody who's going to be impartial to their case, whether it's the defense or the prosecutor, they're trying to find jurors that they can both agree on, yes, we want this juror to be on the jury, or a potential juror to be on the jury. When he asked about has anyone's family members, any of the jury's family members, does anybody have, any of the people in this room, have any of your family members ever been convicted for drugs? Every hand went up. I'm just sitting in the back watching this and I'm going, what have I gotten myself into? Unbelievable. So you'll see there are some questions at the end here. I'm just giving you a broad overview of case number 1. The judge said drugs have touched every, or maybe it was one of the attorneys, doesn't matter, but he said drugs have touched every life in this room. Drug abuse is a disease. I had red flags going off in my mind at this point. He also said, I also noticed that there were dozens of people in that building that were being paid by the state. The same state that I know supports actual drug addiction. We'll get to that in a minute. And one potential juror, I thought this was interesting, was a nurse. Her husband and son were both police officers, so she works in the system that propagates the addiction. Her husband and her son work in the system that propagate the conviction. Interesting. So both of the things happening here, these people are employed handling. So I wonder how much of this stuff we could avoid if we didn't have so much drug addiction, which was propagated by the medical system. I just wondered. So that was case 1. Okay, let's go on to case 2. I was selected for 2 cases within like 2 or 3 months. This was unbelievable. I could not believe this. It was 2 counts of first-degree murder, criminal conspiracy, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse. I didn't know you could abuse a corpse because in order to become a corpse, you already had to be sort of abused. So to abuse a corpse further, I've got questions about this. I don't know that I really want to discuss them. Maybe I don't even want to know the answer. But as a corpse, he was already abused. So to abuse, you get what I'm saying. But we were warned that a dead drug addict's recorded testimony would be present. So once again, here we are, and I'm going, wow. You know, and it wasn't street drugs, it was prescription stuff. An ER doctor would be a witness, and the evidence was going to be very extremely graphic, and the crime had actually happened 3 years prior, but the COVID's hoax lethal injection had shut down jury trials for a long time. This was in the summer of 2022. So we already had a massive backup in the criminal justice system, but then the COVID's hoax completely turned, threw gas on the fire. So my questions after this wonderful little experience was, are there really enough crimes in the Navy and Marines to warrant the NCIS? And if so, why? Why is our military full of criminals? I don't understand. Then how has televised procedural crime drama programming influenced the behavior of lawyers, judges, and even jurors? Because we know that the procedural crime drama stuff influences the behavior of your family members. But I'd never been face to face with the fact that, wow, the lawyers love this stuff, the judges love this stuff. I wonder what the jurors do. And I wonder if there's any effect that it has on the jurors in being able to convict or acquit in a case based on what they see on television. You know my feelings on TV, right? I'm already a big, ooh, I hate TV. Oh, if I was king for a day, I would get rid of all television tomorrow, all of it. Tomorrow. There's nothing good on it. Nothing. And even when I think I find a good Animal Planet show, they ruin it with crappy commercials. It's unbelievable. And that's only when I'm staying at a hotel or an Airbnb. I don't watch. That's it. But still, I'm like, oh, this show had a little bit of potential, but they ruined it. So why isn't the source of these prescribed medications being questioned? Who's the source of the prescribed medications? Because remember, the alprazolam and the clonazepam that in the case 1, was she cooking it in her bathtub? Where'd she get it? Doctors and pharmacists. So if she's got potential, intent to distribute, that means a pretty good amount, right? So where are the people that gave her the drugs? Because she didn't make them. And why has drug addiction and or drug conviction touched every life? How is that possible? I have further questions. Why does the state support and condone these practices through widespread mass medication? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch, Divine Design Natural Health videos number 1 through about number 210, because you're talking about whether it's, indoctrination, medication, vaccination, fluoridation, you name it. It's condoned by the people that you pay taxes to. So why are hospitals, like the nurses and doctors, and the government, meaning the police and other staff, often the largest employers in many counties, as we saw by the woman who was a nurse with a police officer husband and police officer son? How much of our court and prison systems are tied up with the results of legalized poison peddling by the medical cartel? These were some of my questions. And go back to that last one too, Jonathan, because I forgot to say, how much of our court system is tied up and why does the state support and condone? How many of you know our prisons are not nonprofits? They make a lot of money. They are not nonprofit organizations. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. So next. So of course I looked into this, and I'd been thinking about doing a class like this for a long time because of anything. Like if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I'd probably be like a forensic guy or some kind of detective, or I'd be a Joe Kenda. Or I'd be a Jim. I don't know. I might be a Jim. I don't know. But so I kind of had been thinking about this class for a long time and thinking, man, there are a lot of parallels between medicine and forensic crime. And then when I found out I did this jury duty thing, and I thought, wow, there's something here, because this is changing the behavior of lawyers, cops, judges, and even the jurors. And I didn't know it until I started looking into this, and I came up with the whole CSI thing, because I thought we're going to build this into case studies. We're going to actually show how we fix people in real time. We're going to show you this is what they came in with, this is what they have. Now, 3 months later, we're going to give it a 90-day thing. I'm going to show you, here's the evidence, here's the criminals, here's the evidence, here's the result, here's the conviction, here's the acquittal. Boom. That's what we're going to do. So we titled this Case Studies of Individuals, but going back to CSI, the crime scene investigation, the show that people are familiar with, it's also known as CSI, is an American procedural drama television series that aired on CBS from October 2000 to September 2015. This is important because we're going to get into this thing called the CSI effect. The series follows a team of forensic scientists employed by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department as they use physical evidence to solve murders and other crimes. The show became a major television phenomenon known for its depiction of forensic science and its significant cultural impact, including the so-called, didn't know about this until just putting this stuff together, the CSI effect, where viewers developed heightened expectations for real-life forensic procedures. And I just thought, oh, people are just getting really into forensic science, kind of like what, I've kind of fallen into over the years. Just, wow, I'm so fascinated by justice being served and how they tied this thread left on a piece of duct tape to this guy who bought it at a Walmart 45 miles away, and they have him on camera. And it's just this amazing, what used to be gumshoe detective work has now turned into just surveillance camera footage. That's basically. But a CSI effect, I read that and said, I am all ears. What is this about? So here goes. Several aspects of popular crime shows have been criticized as being very unrealistic. For instance, the show's fictional characters not only investigate, aka process crime scenes, but they also conduct raids, engage in suspect pursuit and arrest, interrogate suspects, and solve cases, which in real life really falls under the responsibility of detectives and uniformed officers, not CSI personnel. Additionally, if CSIs process a crime scene, it's inappropriate for them to also be involved in the examination and testing of any evidence collected from that scene, as it would compromise the impartiality of scientific evidence. In real investigations, DNA and fingerprint data are often unobtainable, and when they are available, can take several weeks or months to process. Whereas television crime labs, man, they got the results in 2 hours. Usually not 2 hours, usually 45 minutes, because there's 15 minutes of commercials. But they get those results in a very short amount of time. So the creator of the CSI franchise, so just a couple paragraphs about the show, then we'll get right into it, claimed that all of the science is accurate on the shows. Researchers, however, have described CSI's portrayal of forensic science as high-tech magic. And you know how I love magic. Forensic scientists have estimated that 40% of the scientific techniques depicted on CSI don't even exist. In addition to using unrealistic techniques, CSI ignores all elements of uncertainty present in real investigations and instead portrays experimental results as absolute truth. Do you hear what I'm preaching yet? Sound familiar? The notion of these inaccurate portrayals could alter the public perception of forensic evidence, the notion that these inaccurate portrayals could alter the public perception of forensic evidence was dubbed the CSI effect, a term which began to appear in mainstream media as early as 2004. Man, I am way behind. Under this effect, victims, their families, and jurors are coming to expect instant answers from showcase techniques such as DNA analysis and fingerprinting, when actual forensic processing often takes days or weeks with no guarantee of revealing a smoking gun for the prosecution's case. DAs state that the conviction rate in cases with little physical evidence has decreased largely due to the influence of CSI on jury members. Can you believe this? So because what people are seeing on TV, which is often programmed and propagated by the writers at the CIA, so what people are seeing on TV, they're starting to carry into real life and go, well, they do it on TV with the DNA and the fingerprint, and they got the stuff in 5 minutes, and we're in a courtroom, and people are going, well, why can't we see, why isn't the DNA, evidence and the fingerprints and stuff like that? So what kind of crazy, pressure does that put on law enforcement? What kind of crazy pressure is that? You've got all these judges and you know how I feel about the judges and the lawyers and the stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but like you've got all of these people that are now under a bunch of pressure because of what people are watching on TV. Does that sound familiar, Heidi? You see where I'm going with this? Unbelievable, right? So let's compare the CSI stuff, CSI effect with medical flowchart. And you'll see. I wonder if it has anything to do. I wonder if they're the same. The medical cartel makes sure all the people believe they have endless diseases and disorders, such as viruses and bad genes. The cartel can turn an occasional itch or blink into a labeled and packaged condition that requires tests and treatments. Continuing on, that same cartel can invent disorder labels out of thin air. They just make it up. They just make up a new law and they convict you. The cartel extortion fees we would call insurance premiums. The victims actually think that health comes from an instant diagnostic test, often involving penetration of bodily cavities, like a blood test or a DNA test or a colonoscopy or a bronchoscopy or an endoscopy. They're putting a camera, they're invading your body, they're putting something where it doesn't belong, and they're going, yep, there's polyps. I wonder what they're going to do with the polyps, right? So they think that everything comes from this instant diagnostic test, just like in CSI stuff, right? Next. Criminals traffic victims through an intricate network of insurance referrals, laboratories, and testing centers. We got to get more pictures. We've got to figure out what to call your disease. Deliberately slow diagnoses by the criminals call for fast-acting and poisonous toxins paid for by the premiums to the cartel. Unbelievable. We're going to cut you and dice you and splice you, and we're going to get you to pay for it. Unbelievable, right? In the hopes of assistance, victims will often willfully submit their own blood and DNA evidence to convicted criminal enterprises, right? Like 23andMe, everybody sent their DNA in truckloads of DNA to this company. This company goes bankrupt. BlackRock buys them. Guess who owns your DNA now? BlackRock, so that you could find out that you were 10% Native American and 20% Irish, which is fake anyway because they tested dogs and they found the same thing. They got you. Isn't that great? Crazy. Send in some DNA from a papaya like the dude in Africa did, right? And then you find out the papaya is 15% Irish. Isn't that great? And then the president of the African country ends up mysteriously dead. Isn't that funny? So sickness is incentivized by societal norms propagated by cartel advertisements on mass media, the same mass media that you learned what the CSI effect was. Isn't that crazy? Next. Victims enter witness protection. They move across the country to be closer to their award-winning criminals, the oncologists, the surgeons, the guys who, the one person in the world who knows the two people that have that one disease that we've specialized down to the point where we know it's in this cell. That's where medicine's going. Some even undergo medical tourism in Mexico for seemingly safer treatments. They try to escape to Mexico. Victims constantly chase the right disease name and the appropriate cartel-approved poison or surgery. They waste tons, I hear this all the time, of valuable time and money interviewing different criminals for the same results. Unbelievable. They're going to go to a different doctor. That doctor is going to have a different opinion than the first doctor. They're going to be totally diametrically opposed to each other. And then he's not going to like what this guy says. So then he's going to go to another doctor who's trained the same way. And eventually those three doctors are going to get together and tell you, yeah, we all agree. You should do this surgery. It's crazy. Specialist number 2 says that specialist number 1 performed the wrong surgery or used the wrong poison. Well, he used the wrong thing. I would have done it this way. I would have gone in through this artery. He did it the other way. Insurance cartels provide endless runarounds with out-of-network denials. When the damage is done, victims change criminals and start the whole process over. Let's see, a guy in a white coat completely screwed me. I'm going to go to a different guy in a white coat and see if he screws me better. Every person will be a captive of the medical cartel from birth to death, highlighting new toxic poisons and lethal injections that will never end. The victim's healthcare history, you guessed it, this is what I came to. Their healthcare history is an actual crime scene with criminals and victims. What we do is we look for the correct evidence and we deliver justice. I'm going to show you how we deliver justice here in just a minute. Heidi, come on up. Read us some testimonials.
So this patient, she said, I was in significant pain and losing sleep due to a muscle tear in my shoulder. It was disrupting my day-to-day life. Through chiropractic supplements and PEMF, all my shoulder pain went away, and now I am completely healed with no pain. If I was not at Divine Design, this would have been a rotator cuff surgery with no real healing in sight.
Rotator cuff surgeries, I forget when we did the medical mousetrap. I don't know, what are those, 30,000? Something like that. Yeah, who knows? Rotator cuff surgeries, dime a dozen nowadays, dime a dozen. I believe in science being the biggest single cause of human suffering in history, more than all other causes combined. And if you don't know who that is, that's Bill Nye, the science guy. He's an award-winning atheist and God-hater. Yes. The new normal was invented by perverts and psychopaths. Correct. What archaeologists will find in 500 years.
That's a long career of OnlyFans, 40 years.
40 years? Yeah, I know. So OnlyFans, fake boobs, fake lips, fake nails. It's going to be the only thing left.
Nice lips.
Isn't that great? She's your type, Gordon. Yeah, she's your type. This is great. I love this. This is outside a hospital. Please stop. Do not enter our hospital if you're feeling unwell. This is the best part. Hold on. Thank you for helping us to keep all our people safe. Evolution Health. down in the corner. It says Evolution Health. Unbelievable. That's what your hospitals believe in right there. It's crazy. Yeah, if you're sick, don't come to the hospital. Remember that lunacy 5 years ago? Unbelievable. So that was just a little analogy, what we just went through. Now I'm going to show you in the near future. We've talked about this in previous technology classes. Years ago, we did a couple of classes called Artificial versus Natural, highlighting all the transhuman crazy stuff, AI stuff coming. I just want to show you, this is nuts. And you're only going to hear about this more. It's never going to go away. It's here to stay. One artificial intelligence company, which I hate the word AI, artificial intelligence, I just hate it. But it's an oxymoron. But I get what they're trying to say. One AI company recently just did one investigative run, and they came up with 700 million potential new proteins that have never existed before. 700 million new proteins. If a weird protein gets inside your body, what's going to happen? Just think about that. Nobody needs to answer. Just think, if a protein that never existed gets into your body, what kind of reaction might you have? Just think. Throughout the whole AI new protein industry, and there's dozens of companies doing this, all sorts of favorable predictions are being made. For instance, cancer therapies that are customized for each unique patient, like Larry Ellison and Trump and what's the guy getting together on day one of Trump's administration and putting together AI data centers and artificial intelligence mRNA vaccines for cancer based on your genetics. Wow. See where this is going? Holy cow. Cancer therapies that are customized for you. Question, how about if we don't have cancer? How about we don't need cancer therapies? See? When you don't pay attention to the poison, you'll never see the answer. They'll just blame it on cancer, genes, viruses. But what about if your cancer comes from poison? Can't we just get rid of the poison? That's a question that's not being asked. Placing these proteins into the blood means the body, here's your answer, is encountering compounds it has never seen before. Proteins that have never existed in nature. And what would happen if your body comes in contact with that? You're going to have a reaction of some sort. You're going to have some kind of, what kind of reaction? Is it going to be a poison reaction that you just got exposed to some kind of poison? Or is it going to be like a malnutrition type of reaction? It's going to be a poison reaction. And that's going to be diagnosed as what? A new disease. See where this goes? Next. Unbelievable. Therefore, many unpredictable things can happen even after extensive safety testing. These will all be called new diseases, every one of them. Next. People are volunteering to turn over what's happening inside their bodies to their doctors and digital storage platforms like these AI data centers that are going to suck up so much energy. Oh my gosh. And they're going to store everything. And your government loves this idea because some people in your government want everyone to have wearables. What do I mean by that? Let's check it out. Here's a partial list of currently available wearable and implantable devices covering a wide range of medical data grabbing inside the human body. The only one on this whole list that you might have heard of is probably the Apple Watch. Stello, a lot of doctors' offices are using that now. Oura Ring 4, heck, you can buy that on Amazon and use it yourself. Dexcom, yeah, never heard of it. Oh yeah, yes, and these are both glucose monitors right here. Yeah, so a lot of doctors' offices, a lot of natural health doctors' offices are using these, or at least this one. O2 Ring, Hexoskin Smart Shirt, Samsung Galaxy Ring, Cardiac Sense. So let me get this straight. We're going to take your data and we're going to store it and we're going to use it to recommend to you drugs, surgeries, and we're going to use the AI to create new drugs. They've already done. AI, just a few weeks ago, invented the first ever brand new, created by AI antibiotic. And that will go in humans very shortly. So AI is going to analyze all of your stuff and sell you a drug or a new protein called a supplement, or a drug, more than likely a protein drug, or an injectable protein called a peptide. All of these, you need to know that they go by many different names. That's all you need to know. So they extract data, here it is, on heart activity, sleep apnea, hormonal changes, glucose levels, possible seizures, skin temperature, stress, body movement while asleep, breathing during sleep, biorhythms, vitality score, oxygen saturation, menstrual cycles, and more. And what they're going to do is they're going to say, well, you know what? If you just go ahead and you put this little thing on your body, or you put this little chip in your chest, that way you won't need your sleep apnea device. You won't need your CPAP. We can just monitor everything right here. You don't need the tubes. You don't need, and then your first question should be, well, why did I need the tubes anyway? Why did I need the Darth Vader mask, right? Oxygen sat, menstrual cycles, they're going to measure this. They're going to do everything. They're going to measure everything. And it's going to be promised that if you give us all your information, all of your crime scene evidence, we will spit out to you a solution, right? There's money to be made in selling people their own data. Give us what you have. We'll sell it back to you. We're going to let your body generate all this data. We're going to take it. We're going to sell it back to you. And we're going to give you poison to fix the problems. Unbelievable. What about all the published evidence? Well, if I was in a crime scene type of a thing, or if I was trying to figure out, hey, what kind of published evidence do we have here? If I was looking at a crime scene, or if I was an investigator, I'd say, is there anything that shows me that this is actually happening, that people are waking up or understanding that this is the type of thing that's happening in healthcare? Well, we've talked about this a number of times. There was a particular review. It was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, also known as JAMA. That's the big one in the United States. In England, it's called the Lancet. But on a different journal, but like England's version of it is called the Lancet. On July 26, 2000, that's over 25 years ago. What did it say? I've covered this in previous classes. But this is the gist of it. The author, her name was Dr. Barbara Starfield. She was a widely revered public health expert at the lovely, our friends and family over at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health that did such a wonderful job during the COVIDs. Don't you forget. So it was the author, it was her workplace, and it was the very journal, all had meticulous mainstream credentials. So there was no hole to be poked in this story. So her shocking review, it's called, Is the U.S. Health Really the Best in the World?, revealed that the U.S. medical system kills 225,000 people and severely maims many more. Moving on, so it's 225,000 people per year, by the way. So the breakdown. The Fear and Death Administration approved drugs kill 106,000 people, and mistreatment errors in hospitals kill another 119,000 people. But remember, how long ago was this? What year was this? 25 years ago. So if you extrapolate those numbers, the U.S. medical system kills almost, 2.25 million people per decade. But that, remember, that was 25 years ago. We've gotten a lot more efficient at killing people ever since the COVID hoax. We've gotten a lot better. We've figured out much better ways to murder U.S. citizens. The same medical professionals who recently tried to kill you are never, never going to make you well. So all of that published evidence, if you want copies of it, I can show you, I can give you the link, I can print them out for you. Those journals, and that's not the only journal. There's one from, 4 or 5 years ago, says the same thing, only bigger numbers. But here it is. Here's Ed Dowd. He's a guy that used to work for BlackRock. He's like an accounting guy for BlackRock. Some of you might know him. But the numbers are out. This is what's happening. 7 to 15 million dead from the shot. 29 to 60 million disabled, and a total of 500 to 900 million injured. So if you do the math and you put all these together at the high end, you're talking about 1 billion people just from the last 5 years. So you watched World War II times 10 or 15 happen in real time in the world in the last 5 years, but nobody knows what's going on because it's not on TV. That's what's happening. Propagated, the biggest crime in history propagated by the dudes in white coats who are telling you that they're going to poison you into health. It's genius. It's genius. The only way they could do it is with television mind control programming, MK Ultra crap pumped into your living room. That's the only way they could do it. All you got to do to stop it is turn it off. All you got to do is roll your sleeve down. All you got to do is put the drugs down. If we can just teach people how to stop poisoning themselves, it's simple. Everything gets better. Next, 4 ways humans die. You can go to sleep. You can just fall over. You can do what the Bible said, just go to sleep. You can have an accident. You can do it yourself or somebody else can do it for you. Those are the only ways. That's really it. Number 4 is where somebody assists you. Number 3 is where you do all the work yourself. Number 2, you didn't plan on it. Nobody sent invitations. And number 1, unfortunately, number 1 is now natural. Yeah, very rare. It's very rare that people die from natural causes. But they can relabel natural to mean diabetes, cancer, stroke, heart attack, everything else. So is it really natural or was it chemically induced? Ah, see? So they're changing. There's an actual coroner's report right there where you can see natural, accident, suicide, homicide. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Here, we still got to look for some evidence, and there we couldn't determine. Was it an accident? Did somebody push him? Whatever. Oh, and by the way, just keep in mind, like the natural, go back to natural there, the first, back one more, Jonathan. Nowadays, the natural thing would also be sitting in a $12,000 a month room at the nursing home wasting away on morphine forgetting your name. That would be natural. That would be considered natural nowadays. So yeah. Oh, and everybody should know this one. Oh, and go back to, where was the Joe Kenda quote? Yeah. One more. Forward. And I even reiterated this. I asked my friend, Detective Joe Kenda, I said, hey, is this true? And through his 35 years of service as a detective in the Colorado Springs Police Department, he said, yes, as a matter of fact, unexpected death occurs only 3 ways: suicide, homicide, or accident. That's a little nugget I picked up from him. I thought, wow, he's right on the money. He's absolutely, because I already knew this right here, I'd figured this out, but to have a homicide detective say it this way: unexpected death occurs 1 of 3 ways: suicide, homicide, or accident. That's it. Like, there's no other way. That's it. Very good. Okay, let's go forward. Yeah, I've covered this many times. I don't know how to make this more poignant, because if people understand, if you will just put these goggles on, look through a lens of this right here, you will immediately be able to tell what the problem is. Whether your dog is poisoned or whether someone that you're talking to has been misdiagnosed. This is so simple. I must explain this 10 times a day in each of the rooms. These are the only ways that you can kill a human being. We call it the triune of health or the triad of health. Structural problems, some people would say physical. Chemical problems, some people would say nutritional. Emotional problems, some people would say spiritual. I put both things up there so that you can say it however you want to say it. But structural, chemical, and emotional, that's pretty simple, because that, you can't think of a way to kill a human that's outside of that. Because this right here is all of the trauma, suicide, and homicide. You poke enough holes in somebody traumatically, cause structural damage, they're going to bleed out, they're going to die. Structural, chemical, or emotional. Let's say, which one of these, let's ask a few questions. If somebody falls off a ladder, they go to a medical doctor. What's the medical doctor going to give them? X-rays, which is going to cause more damage, structural damage, ionizing radiation. Then he's going to probably give them a pain reliever, a muscle relaxer, or some kind of shot, which is going to cause what? Chemical stressor. So think of these things as structural stress, chemical stress, emotional stress. When your medical doctor, let's back up a minute. When your medical doctor says, oh, honey, what you're going through is just stress, what's he talking about? He is only thinking this right here, period. Am I right or am I right? When you go to your medical doctor and say, I just can't live, I can't get out of bed, I'm emotional, I'm anxious, I'm distressed, I'm depressed, what's he saying? Boom, you got a psych med coming your way. Maybe 2 if you're a good girl, right? Structural, chemical, emotional. So let's just, now let's go forward. Fall off a ladder, go to the medical doctor, get a chemical drug. Now you're dependent on that, you're on your oxys, you've been taking them for 2-3 weeks, your back still hurts. What are you moving towards very soon? An emotional problem. Some kind of depression, some kind of anxiety, some kind of suicidal thoughts, blah, blah, blah. Do it in reverse. Let's say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I want to go out. I want to get loaded. Buddy gives me an oxy at the bar. We pound a few, we do a couple keg stands. I wrap my car around a tree, break my leg. See, it goes this way too. Or it can go that way. Or it can just be all three at once, God forbid. But usually this is just somebody, emotional stuff is like, your family, somebody dies, God forbid, something happens, dog problems, cat problems, girlfriend problems, wife problems, house problems, job problems, right? Most of these you can control. A lot of them you can control. This is the one that we want to talk about. Why? Because that's about 99% of all the disease out there. Because they will convince you, if you are not astute, they will convince you that all the chemical stuff is actually bugs and genes, viruses and genetics. And if they have you there, soon they will get you to inject a vaccine to change your genetics. Oh, wait, that was 5 years. Yeah, they already did that. So the triune of health, 3 ways to kill humans. Yeah, you can go ahead. Structural, chemical, and emotional. Stress, stress, stress. When the doctor says stress, he's not differentiating. He's just calling you crazy. He's saying it's emotional stress. But I am saying there's structural stress, chemical stress, emotional stress. If you have enough chemical stress where you are poisoned and you are malnourished, and you keep doing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again, are your joints, ligaments, tendons, muscles, and bones going to fall apart? So you've got chemical stress causing your structural stress, right? Because you don't have enough raw materials to rebuild your arteries, nerves, veins, blood, right? All of your bones, ligaments, tendons. It's so easy. It's so easy. If your kid has a fever and he starts coughing, hacking, has a rash, projectile diarrhea out the front and out the back, what is the problem? Is it structural, chemical, or emotional? Why? It's chemical, but why? Because he's having detoxification reactions of coughing, sneezing, diarrhea, puking, rash. How many people run to the emergency room thinking that it's some kind of genetic viral thing when it's really the kid just got poisoned? And he's going to get more poisoned the minute they give him something to bring down the fever. Isn't that crazy? Detective Joe Kenda says, and if you don't know who that is, look into him. It's mind-blowing because that was gumshoe detective work back before surveillance cameras and AI data centers started storing all of your stuff when you walk in a store. Looking through piles of trash for a receipt. I mean, this guy's genius. His close rate or his solve rate was unbelievable. Written some interesting books. I've learned a lot of good stuff at the feet of Joe Kenda. But one of his things that I thought, wow, that really applies to healthcare is poisoning can be of 4 ways: inhalation, ingestion, injection, or absorption. Wow, that's great. I wish your medical doctors knew that, but they don't. Okay, ready for commercial break? Everybody give Heidi a warm round of applause. We are almost done.
Right. So this patient, she said, I've been going to Spradlin for a couple of years now. And like many of y'all, I'm sure, I thought maybe I had cured myself and did not need my supplements anymore. So, in the spirit of curiosity and bad judgment, I quit my supplements cold turkey. Not long after, several of my symptoms came creeping back, and my period tried to finish me off entirely. Having learned my lesson, I recommitted myself to taking 100% of my supplements. My symptoms went away, and now I feel great. So if you ever think your supplements aren't that important and you're getting scammed, learn from my little experiment and keep taking your supplements. They work.
Yeah. So people need to understand it takes a while to rebuild your body after you've been abusing it and it's been falling apart for decades. It takes a little while. Okay. Why are things expensive? And this ties into some of the stuff we're going to talk about at the end. 4 companies control 55 to 85% of the meat market. 4 airlines control 80% of air travel. 3 companies control about 92% of the soda market. 3 companies control 73% of the cereal market. Why don't I hear about it? Because 6 companies control 90% of the news. So if you're watching TV, you're getting advertisements for these guys, these guys, these guys, and these guys, and they're all being controlled by these guys. That's why I offer this to people. They don't take me up on it. But if you ask me, I will come to your house for free and I will remove your television set. Anytime, day or night. I don't care. Just let me know. And it's a service that I provide free of charge to my community. How I'm showing up to the grocery store with no mask next pandemic. Okay, nobody knows who Negan is. Moving on. I knew that one was going to bomb. It's ironic how Big Pharma coined the word quack for people who promote natural healing, when the word pharmaceutical actually comes from the word pharmakia, which translates to sorcery, witchcraft, or sorcerer, which meant one who uses poison to manipulate and control others. That's why it's funny that, the pharmacists are the ones who call me a quack. That's funny. It's funny. Next. Knowing your doctor receives a commission and compensation depending on the medications they give you, that should be enough fuel to take down or to take control of your own health care. Yep. So here's the progression of a typical phone call. So I'm going to take you from point A to point Z, and we're going to walk you through this whole process, like how people become patients. They call, they have a problem, they need help. Insert some big long medical history with a lot of details, a lot of doctors, a lot of stuff that we don't know. It happened 15 years ago. It doesn't matter. We can't change it. Number two, I should say, the progression. This is the top 10 things in a typical phone call when people call. They're medical doctors. They can't figure it out, but they're often already just completely destroyed by surgery and disenfranchised with drugs. They're at their wits' end. They have no other choice. They're finally driven to their knees, and they dump their carcass at our front door saying, help us, help us. I can't go back to the white coat atheists. Number three, they usually ask, are you a specialist with my disease? To which we say, we do not specialize in disease. We specialize in humans. Number four, then they ask, do you take my insurance? We say, well, it's not that we don't take your insurance. It's that your insurance doesn't take us. So we say no without saying no. And then from that point on, they don't hear anything else that we say. It's quite obvious. And then they want the system that poisoned and mangled them to now get them well. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Never has. Never will. Just won't happen. How many, nurse of 35 years? Does it ever happen? Yeah, that happened, yeah. So number five, they somehow can't afford the alternative, even without somehow knowing the actual amount. I've always found that interesting. And number six, how many visits does it take? Can I just do one visit? And to that, we don't say it like this, but it's like, well, do you clean your house once? Do you change your oil once? Do you mow your lawn once? Like regular maintenance, that's where it's at. Number seven. So does this certain online protocol, herb, or supplement help with my problem? Usually it's a parasite cleanse. It's a mold detox thing. It's some kind of herbal thing. It's some kind of homeopathic botanical flower name. It's some kind of online social media influencer product. It's some redheaded YouTube comedian who's selling like testosterone supplements or something. And then synthetic megadose store-bought nutraceuticals from China. Usually that's how it goes. That's usually what people are taking. Number eight. Oh, usually they're taking that, let me say. They're usually not taking supplements from the first supplement company in the world that uses plants and animals. They're usually taking all the other crap. And then they usually say, do you carry this protocol or herb or supplement that I heard of online? Now it's methylene blue. Everybody's learning that methylene blue is the fix for everything. You need to take it. You need to take it if you've got cancer or headaches, methylene blue. You need to stain your internal organs blue. It's a fabric dye from the 1800s. Everybody needs methylene blue. Don't you know you're deficient in methylene blue? And EDTA and DMSO and all the other drugs that are made by the pharmaceutical companies. That's what those are. Like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and all the nonsense. People are running to American Family Pharmacy advertisements on Rumble videos to get their American Family Pharmacy ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine because somebody is making a butt ton of money from selling people drugs when the people are trying to get away from the drug companies. Isn't it great? It's hilarious. Chlorine dioxide, I've heard about that for a long time. But here's the deal. All of these, whether it's castor oil, baking soda, apple cider vinegar, I've got no problem with some of this stuff. I got no problem with some of it. But the thing is, you're not going to regrow your organs and restore your body just by a simple little thing of applying something topically or taking a few drops of something. These are not miracle cures. If you want to add something like this to something else, like when you've gotten healthy, okay, fine. But don't think that you're just going to take some DMSO and all your problems are going to go away and your heart's going to be fine, right? Intravenous hydrotherapy, injectable peptides, homeopathic vaccines. That's what people ask for. That's what people are looking for. That's what the artificial intelligence algorithm on their scrying device, Black Mirror phone, is telling them to look for. That's what they're looking for. That's what they think they need because that's what AI is telling them, right? Number 9. We refer them to a specific wellness workshop to address their questions. And then number 10, we tell them to call back when they're ready to get started. That's usually how it goes. Beyond that, we go to the preparation. We do not advertise, so you likely found us online or through word of mouth, friend or family. Referrals, step 1, all you got to do is be teachable, resourceful, and committed. Step 2, you just got to decide your level of commitment. Are you going to do gold, silver, or bronze? We have different levels, different methods of getting involved. Step 3, you got to schedule your interview. All you got to do is watch the office tour, read some FAQs. I know some of you in here got grandfathered in and you didn't go through this whole process, but we've narrowed the gate. We've narrowed the gate. So step 3, just watch a short video, read some FAQs, and there's something there that you need to read and note down in order to make the phone call. Next, step 4. Complete your paperwork. There's new patient information form, toxicity questionnaire, system survey form. You just fill those out. Step 5, schedule an interview. Step 6, you come in for an exam. Step 7, we do the report of findings, and that's where we require the presence of a spouse or a decision maker so that everybody in the room gets on one page, so that we're not going to have any of this back and forth, he said, she said, or he's in charge of the finances and I can't do anything. We're not getting involved. Step 8, follow-up visits. So that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And if people can't do any of those, or if they can't read, or if they can't follow directions on a website, I guess we'll just have to wait for people who can. Intake. We measure your vitals. We do additional digging to catch all the symptoms you forgot or think don't matter. For instance, people think, well, I've had this bladder problem for 30 years, ever since I had my baby, and I didn't know you could fix that, and so they don't say anything. But then when we start adjusting bladders and we start regrowing the ligaments that hold the bladder in place, guess what? Some of their incontinence goes away. So sometimes they forget to tell us because they think they've had it so long, or they think that we can't do anything. Other times they think that it doesn't matter because, well, that's a dentist problem, so I'm not going to tell you about my teeth, or that's an eyesight thing. I'm only talking to my optometrist about that. So they don't know. But we dig into their medications and their surgical history. We rate their issues from 0 to 10 for severity and frequency of each problem. We say, hey, you've had this problem. It's a 8 out of 10, and you've had it for 25 years. You have this problem. It's a 2 out of 10, and you've had it for 12 years. We'll show you here in a minute what we're talking about. And then on the intake, we also determine your home run. What is it that really brought you here? It's never the pain. It's never, oh, I got back pain. No, it's never that. It's the fact that that back pain is keeping you from picking up your grandkids. That's what it is. It's not the pain. It's not the dysfunction. That's never what it is. It's what the dysfunction keeps you from doing, period. Write it down. Talk to people. Talk to your friends and family. Figure out what really is what we call their home run. Like, what is messing up their life? What is keeping them from being productive? Self, family, work, and social life. If you can figure out what is that one thing right in the middle of their life that's affecting them and their family and their work and their social life and all that, what is it? And you fix that one problem, guess what? All of their self, family, work, and social life, everything changes. That's what we find. That's what we figure out. That's how we find it in the intake. Next. Is your medical doctor doing that? Nope. Examination. We check out every cell type, every tissue, every organ, every gland, every body part. Problematic areas, we put them in order. We find a solution to fix the problematic area, the main problematic area, and then we rebuild the organ. And if we fix the main problematic area, what happens to the secondary and the tertiary ones? They usually get better too. We don't even have to focus on those. Go to a functional medicine guy, he's going to be saying, well, we need to do a blood test, and look, we need to do a heart protocol and a thyroid protocol and a kidney protocol. And that's going to be $1,200, $1,800, $1,600, and we'll see you in 6 months. And when you come back, we'll run more blood labs. Well, guess what? Your health is a crime scene. You've got blood dripping all over the place. It's crazy. But the nutritional solution is found to remove the problem, and then sometimes you got to find another nutritional solution to rebuild the organ. And as time goes by, your program will grow or shrink based on your diet. Program is laser focused down to the number of tablets or capsules. And then all of that above takes about 90 minutes. We don't have to do a CAT scan, an MRI, an X-ray, or a blood lab, because we're going to find stuff that will not be shown on a CAT scan, an X-ray, an MRI, or a blood lab. Next. Next is follow-up visits. In phase 1, that's just 12 weekly visits. And within that 12 weeks, we're going to reset about 50 years of deterioration. It's crazy because your body's been falling apart at the speed of light. You have not been rebuilding your organs, and then all of a sudden, we stuff some good food in your face, hit you with a couple of supplements, detox a little bit, and half of your symptoms go down within 5 days, 7 days. It's nuts. People are shocked. But within that first week, we're seeing results. And within 12 weeks, we're going to reset many years. You're going to feel better in 90 days than you thought you'd ever feel in your life again. Small changes are made to your supplement program. As products are added, others will decrease in dosage. So like if you started out on something, a dosage of 4 capsules of this and 12 capsules of this or 12 tablets of this, as we add something in, it's going to go down from 4 to 2 and it's going to go down from 12 to 6. It's going to be easy and everything's going to get smaller. You gain an understanding of water, food, air, cosmetics, how they affect your body. On those follow-up visits, you're also going to understand detoxification visits will shave off years of recovery time. Foot spa, sauna, pulse. We've got whole classes on these. I won't go into detail on them, but you learn how to detoxify your environment, because what good does it do if we detoxify you and then you go right back into a crappy environment? And then you're spraying Chanel number 55 and then you're wearing Tide and you're eating Tide Pods all day. That's not a good thing. Next. You learn how to actually eat for the first time in your life, changing your eating habits one small step at a time. And that will go with you forever. You read books, you watch documentaries, you study the academy videos, you take quizzes, you educate yourself. I don't know another doctor's office in the world. I don't know another place that teaches people. I don't. Not like this. Not like this. I don't know another, I really don't know anymore. I don't know if I even know any other doctor's offices that do free classes, let alone all the other stuff. You displace years of false medical propaganda and learn more than any college is ever going to teach you. And you will know more about how to take care of your body and your kids and your grandkids than you're not going to learn it in college, because all the textbooks in college, health classes, are written by the pharmaceutical companies, right? Chiropractic visits don't start until week 4 and include cold laser along with percussion. Those are your follow-up visits. And then on your progress report, which is my favorite, that happens at week 12. And that's 90 days, 3 months, however you want to look at it. And these would be called case studies in the scientific literature, but we don't publish them for obvious reasons. Every one of the things I'm about to show you, we could do a whole write-up in a medical journal, and we could show verifiable, concrete proof, clinical evidence of what we did, but it would take time and it would take money to get that stuff published. And in the meantime, I wouldn't be helping anybody else. I'd just be writing a journal article trying to get published. But case studies in journal articles are just like what you're going to see, only they go into great detail about on week 2, the subject did this and this and this, and on week 3, the subject did that and that, and we changed the dosages, and we did this. Most of the times, the case studies in real scientific literature are going to be things that were operated on through pharmaceutical nutrition. And, we gave this, like case studies with drugs, it's going to be, here's this group of people that we did this dosage, and then here's this group of people that we did with this dosage, and it looks like this group of people did a little better. So we're going to go with this dosage. That's what a case study is. That's what happens. So we don't publish them for obvious reasons. It would take time. It would take money, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else. But everything that you're going to see, like we could publish as a case study. It's crazy. We're going to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges from day 1 to day 90. We're going to have you do the paperwork at the beginning, paperwork at the end, compare the two, and you're going to go, I don't even remember who this guy was. That's what happens. All paperwork is redone and compared to the originals. So case studies here, I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But all the miracles and victories, and we discussed the various specialists that were avoided during the progress report. I'll show you what I mean by that. Next. Progress report. A few more things. We reveal other things we do that are not advertised and only after trust is exhibited. Once I know you're not a Fed, then we'll talk. We plan your future for maintenance. We say, great, we got 80% better in 12 weeks. We're going to move you to once every 4 weeks, and you're going to get the other 20% better within the next year. See you in a month. That's what we do. 90% of patients experience 50 to 90% improvement within that first 90 days. What I'm going to show you, we just went through and grabbed a smattering of people from, I don't even know, a couple of years ago? I'm not even sure. But we just grabbed random people and we said, here's a good one, here's a good one. These are typical numbers, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. Also see our victory wall in the lobby. I don't know another doctor's office in the world that has a victory wall with just tons of testimonials on every subject. See our video testimonials on Facebook and on Instascam. You can check those out. We got a lot of video testimonials just of ones that we've recorded and edited and put up. I don't know that we'll ever be doing a lot more video testimonials. We've got plenty. I don't know that we need more. But ask your pharmacia salesman for printed testimonials of restored patients with improved lives. I don't think you'll be getting a big response. Now, here are your case studies. For instance, Like you could write this whole thing into a big article and submit it to a journal and get it published. You could. This is a 41-year-old female. All we did for the for the layout of this, we took their top 10 symptoms that they came in here with the highest numbers. And day 1, day 90. And then right here, so here's the symptoms. Here's the specialist that we avoided. Each one of these symptoms could be locked into another specialist, and that would be another exam, that would be another trip, that would be another office, that would be filling out more paperwork, more tests. Or they could just come here, get it all done in one place. I think you might begin to see the value. If we can get rid of your pediatrician, if we can get rid of your dentist, if we can get rid of your optometrist, if we can get rid of your veterinarian, and get rid of your cardiologist, your neurologist, your OBGYN, and your hormone specialist down at the Women's Health Clinic, guess what? We just saved you a buttload of money, and you're not going to be talking to 15 different people. And that's how this works. Your health is easy. It's not difficult. It only becomes difficult when you put 15 specialists in charge of it. But this is easy. 42-year-old female, panic attacks, would go to a psychiatrist. Fatigue would take you to a family practitioner. And the family practitioner would what? Fatigue? They put you on Adderall, right? Mental health, that'd be going back to the same psychiatrist. Depression, same thing. So can you see this 42-year-old female? Or wait, what happened to the 41-year-old? Did you just switch it? Go back. 41, back to the first. Am I on the wrong one? 41, is that the number one? Yes. All right, so let's start here. Neurologist, menstrual emotions, OBGYN. Dermatologist, family practitioner, she'd do a sleep study, she'd be on a CPAP, troubled sleep. Or she'd be on Ambien or Lunesta, which are all your sleep drugs are all psychiatric meds. Just FYI, they're never going to tell you that. Anxiety, she'd be at a psychiatrist. Nosebleeds, I don't know, they'd probably cauterize your nose, probably. Inflamed gums, she'd go to an endodontist. That'd be a whole other, geez, that'd just be crazy. But notice the numbers: 10 to 3, 10 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 0, 8 to 4, 7 to 0, 5 to 1, 8 to 1, 4 to 0, 10 to 3. Add these up, add those up, we get an overall improvement of 72% in 90 days. That's 1% a day, almost. If you took off on weekends and you didn't improve, that'd be about it, if you did the math. Make sense? In 12 weeks. We avoid all of these jokers. They're not going to make anything better to begin with. Now let's look at the 42-year-old female. So you can see she's got 4 different psychiatrists she'd be going to, or if she just wanted to, save a lot of money, she could just go to one psychiatrist and get 4 drugs. But that is a very messed up 42-year-old female. She had a lot of problems, right? Mental health. I mean, mental health was a separate thing from depression and panic attacks. It's like she was just always depressed. Notice too, as just on the last one, out of all of the symptoms here, like for a chiropractic office, what's missing? Pain. I don't see any back pain, neck pain, headache. Do you? Why is she coming here? Because she's already been screwed by the dudes in white coats who've put her and kept her on drugs for years and probably cut out a few organs, which probably caused some of these problems. She's been cut, poisoned, and burned for a long time. Look at these numbers. 10 to 0, 10 to 2, 10 to 0, 9 to 0, 9 to 5, 8 to 0, 7 to 0, 7 to 2, 6 to 0, 6 to 0. If you count all these up and count up all those, that's an 89% improvement in 90 days. That one right there, that's 1% a day. All you got to do is walk in, follow some directions, read some books, watch some documentaries, learn some stuff, change your diet. We'll walk you through it. It's too easy. And it works every time with every human. Why? Because all we're doing is getting rid of poisons and increasing nutrition. It's mathematical. It's not complicated. It's easy. 42-year-old female. Thank you. Next. 36-year-old female. Are you noticing how many females versus how many males? There's a reason. Headaches, depression, neck pain, shoulder pain, anxiety, decreased sex drive. No matter how many times I fix this, the husbands, I never get high fives. I never get hugs. I fix that with so many females, and then the husband sits out in the parking lot, cursing under his breath, saying, I wish I had my credit card back. Fatigue, sinus issues, memory, endometriosis. Happens all the time. Okay, maybe I got a couple high fives over the years. Bro hugs, handshakes, but not very frequent. Here's all the specialists we avoided from a 36-year-old female. 36-year-old female. She's a wreck. That right there, that's a crime scene. What has been happening with her? How many doctors has she been going to? I can't tell you. I mean, not that I can't tell you, but I just can't tell you. 10 to 0, 9 to 2, 8 to 0, 8 to 0, 8 to 0, 8 to 0, 7 to 0, 7 to 1, 7 to 0, 6 to 0. 95% improvement, 90 days. Crazy. Typical. Typical. These are your sister-in-laws. These are your nieces. These are your teachers that are teaching your kids at school. That, when you go to the bank and you meet somebody and you put stuff across the table, you're talking to somebody like this. That's what they're experiencing right now. And they're probably on more meds than you can count. Unless they're coming to some place like this where they're figuring it out and they're getting their brain back. And you're wondering, why is your family falling apart? Why are your aunts going crazy? Why are your in-laws going nuts? Because they're on psychiatric meds. They're 36 years old and they're getting cut and poisoned and burned sacrificially at an altar called a hospital. It's unbelievable. And this is how easy it is to fix. This isn't anything different. This is new. This is normal. 36-year-old female. That's it. 35-year-old male. Look at this. Look at that. 35-year-old male, side chest pain, he's heading to a cardiologist. Guaranteed. Especially if it continues going on, he's going to a cardiologist. He's gonna get a little bit of that right there, and that's it. 911, ambulance, hospital, cardiologist. That's how it goes. Itchy ears, your dermatologist is gonna say, dude, clean your ears. And he's gonna say, but they itch. I clean them, but they itch. How are they gonna fix that? You know, itchy ears is a very simple, easy fix. How do I know? Right here, 8 to 0, 90 days. The weight, the shortness of breath, the calf numbness, the chest congestion. See, itchy skin, dermatology. See all the dermatology stuff? What does this mean? Easily sunburned. What does that mean? Is that even a symptom? Dude goes outside, he fries. What does that mean? It means two things. It means toxicity and it means malnutrition. That's what that means. But that's a big enough thing that ended up on his thing because every time he goes out, he gets fried. 83% overall improvement, 90 days, 35-year-old. This works with females. It even works with dudes. It's crazy. Next. 63. Okay, well, turn up the heat, dude, because if you can do it with a 40-year-old or a 35-year-old, what about an old, 63-year-old female? I mean, how can you fix her? Well, I know she's only 2 years away from murder care. I get it. But what if she works the same way all the other humans work? If we can get them to stop poisoning themselves and turn up their nutrition, their life will magically come back on track. Allergist, family practice, allergist, gastroenterologist, orthopedist, dermatologist, orthopedist. Like, we get rid of all of these people. Instead of me referring you to more medical doctors, as would be the case in most chiropractic offices, I say, let's get rid of them. They're not helping you to begin with, right? All of this stuff, all of that. Look at that. I guess there is some back pain there. The 63-year-old female, well, she's old. You're not going to adjust her, are you? Yeah, that's what she needs. What about the joint pain? What about the jaw swelling? Trouble swallowing? What? She'd be going to an eye, ear, nose, and throat doctor. 10 to 0, 10 to 3, 8 to 0, 5 to 1, 5 to 0, 3 to 2, 3 to 0, 10 to 0. Look at that, 10 to 0. Jaw swelling, didn't even have to go to the dentist. Look at that. When I say we get rid of your dentist and your optometrist and we get rid of your neurologist, I mean it. Look at it. It's simple. Stop poisoning yourself. All we had to do with her right here, 10 to 0, you know what we did? We got her to stop poisoning her in her own environment. That's how easy it is. It's unbelievable. Nobody's going to tell her this. 82% improvement. Look at that. Unbelievable. Next, 45-year-old female. Look at this. Digestive issues, 9 to 2. She'd be going to an overweight gastroenterologist with 12 bovine creatures called nurses, 450-pound tramp-stamped blue-haired nurses at the gastroenterology clinic where she would go they would be serving you Krispy Kreme donuts and Starbucks from the front counter. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. High blood pressure, OBGYN stuff, psychiatry stuff. How many times have we gotten rid of all the emotions and depression? Because remember, the structural, chemical, emotional thing, the chemical thing causes the emotional problems. When you're poisoned and malnourished, you can't think. You get depressed, right? Fatigue. What causes fatigue? Crappy food. Why? Your energy should come from your food. When you don't eat good food, you have fatigue. We train you how to eat good food. You no longer have fatigue. 7-1. Look at that. What happens when you eat healthy? You sleep like a brick. You don't move. Sleep, great. Ringing in the ears. How do you get rid of that? Get her off the medications that are causing the ringing in the ears. It's so simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 0, 3, 0. 80%. 80% better in 90 days. I love it. Next. See how easy this is? Every one of these could be a different case study published. Remember the title, Case Studies of Individuals? Every one of these could be published literature in a journal, but I don't care. 51-year-old female, sleep issues. Look at that. We get rid of her CPAP. We get rid of her CPAP, and then her sisters, who also are on CPAPs, get pissed at her about not being on her CPAP. Because we're on our CPAPs, why aren't you on your CPAP anymore? And so her family starts dragging her down. See how that works? Unbelievable. Neck pain, back pain. Oh, there's chiropractor. We need to call in a chiropractor. Oh, all three of these things. Blurred vision. Oh, wait a minute. Why are these all zeros? Show Nadia. Go to the next one. That was the 51-year-old female one. But the 38, oh, geez. Oh, no. Let's go to this one. There we go. The next one was the same. So let's go to, 38-year-old female. 38-year-old female. Yeah. Look at this. 8-0, 6-0, 6-0, 5-0. I mean, no, she had nothing going on. Psychiatry, dermatology, dermatology, dermatology. Right there. She would be in a dermatologist wormhole forever. And then, last but not least, here you go, 33-year-old female. We had a couple in there with just straight zeros. Sorry about that. But 33-year-old female, 84% better. Look at this, 10-2, 9-0, 8-0, 7-5, 8-4, 7-0, 7-0, 3-0, 5-0. I mean, practically all of her symptoms gone. She would be going to all of these she'd be going to a cardiologist, family practice, an allergist, orthopedist, neurologist. Now, obviously, people probably might not go to all of these doctors. But we're just saying this is who you'd be referred to. Based on their insurance, they probably wouldn't be going to all these doctors, but you never know. So, quick commercial break. We're almost done. Last thing I'll show you, which will really make you upset. Go ahead, Heidi.
All right. So this patient, she said, in January of 2018, I had 13 inches of my colon removed because of diverticulitis abscesses. Since then, I have dealt with constant loose or watery stools, and I was told that this would be my new normal. I was in constant pain and knew my body was not digesting my food properly and absorbing nutrients. After 13 weeks at Divine Design, I had a totally formed stool for the first time since 2018. I can definitely tell my digestion has improved and I am absorbing nutrients.
I celebrate somebody having a solid dump. She was excited about it. That was today. She was excited about it. I thought, you know what? People need to be excited by this. You can hear the commercial right now, can't you? Ozempic got me off the couch. Back to doing the things I love. And it's a zombie just traipsing through a flower patch. Isn't that great? How many relationships are you willing to ruin because you won't shut up about freedom? All of them. That's one of my heroes, Dexter. Dexter, if you don't know who that is. Next. You don't need 30 rounds for hunting. I don't think you need 6+ booster shots for a cold, but here we are. Yes. Okay. So why are we talking about this? Well, just to let you know, and this is the landing We're coming in for the landing right here. So the U.S. government is bankrupt and insolvent. The money game cannot continue much longer. They know this. You know this. We all know this. They will print money to debase your savings, your 401ks, and your pensions. They will propagate death to steal your murder care and your socialist insecurity benefits without paying out. That's why your seniors were openly targeted 5 years ago. They do not want to pay that money out because they are already insolvent and bankrupt. We know it, they know it. Next. So this is the fiscal year 2024 required supplementary information. This is your government writing a report on, how can I say? This is the government fiscal budget. They're writing a report on how to save money. Now, I don't think we can, after 37 trillion, they print stuff out of thin air, they loan it back to you with interest, and then lock you into a death spiral of mortgages and inflation and stuff forever. And people think, why can't I get ahead?
But the BlackRock guys can eat those.
Yeah, but yeah. So the BlackRock guys can then, so what will happen eventually is the prices of houses will go up, and then commensurate with your price of your house, your property tax will go up. And then eventually people that, inflation doesn't keep track with your wages, and then eventually your property tax will get to the point where you can't pay it. That's what's going to happen with the inflation of the housing market. That's what's going to happen with the prices. That's the plan. That's what they've written. That's in their books. Eventually, you won't be able to afford your property tax. That's all a plan. So I just want to read this right here because this is present values of estimated expenditures in excess of income under various assumptions. I don't want to get into, it's all garbage, gobbledygook government crap anyway, but they have average annual reduction in death rate numbers. They have total fertility rate numbers. They have real wage growth numbers, CPI change, net immigration, real interest rates. So they're measuring all this stuff against certain shortfalls and certain things that will or won't happen. And they say right here, this is your government, page 180. You can look this up online. This is them saying, well, let me read this. The decrease and increase discussed below represent how much the low and high alternatives differ from the intermediate alternative shown in the table above over the 75-year projection period. So here's the low, intermediate, and high. All you need to know is this sentence right here. The average, I just can't even believe, they put it in writing. The average annual reduction in death rates. So they're talking all these different statistics. They're saying, if people die at younger ages, socialist insecurity income relative to cost would decrease by 5 trillion. If people live longer, the shortfall would increase by 6 trillion. So what they're saying is if Americans die younger, the US government can save 5 trillion. If they die sooner, the deficit gets worse. So they're incentivized for you to die sooner. Depopulation, population control, all of it. So now ask yourself, when you're talking to your families and your friends, when you're out there at church and your buddies are saying, hey, I got to go get a PSA, I got to go get a blood lab, I got to go do this, I got to go do that. Remember, these are the same doctors that tried to kill them 5 years ago. They forgot. They forgot because they're indoctrinated, medicated, vaccinated, glyphosated, food sedated. They forgot. So ask yourself, knowing that the government publishes stuff like this to let you know that murder care and socialist insecurity are not going to be there for you and that they want you dead, ask yourself, why is the food full of carcinogens? Why is the sky sprayed with heavy metals? Why is the water loaded with fluoride? Why do kids get 88 vaccine doses before they're 18? Why'd they force an mRNA lethal injection on the entire world with zero long-term safety data? Why is medication pushed by media, business, medicine, human and animal? Not just medical doctors and humans, your vets. Why are your dogs getting type 2 diabetes? Why do your dogs and cats, why do they have depression? Why are they on psych meds? Your dogs. It's also pushed by insurance in nearly every business in existence. Why? Reasons? Wasn't about health. It was only about fiscal survival by calculated depopulation. Gordon, you're right about something. They don't want you healthy. They need you sick and they need you dead by 65. Not a conspiracy theory. This is an accounting strategy. The conspiracy isn't only that they're trying to kill us. The conspiracy is that they wrote it all down and they're hoping you don't notice. It's an accounting strategy. They're trying to get rid of humans. They don't want to pay you out. Come on. Here's the last thing. I wrote this years ago, waiting. I just thought, I'd throw it in here. There's an awakening currently underway. All the drug commercials, the rising insurance premiums, the reports of widespread medical fraud and corruption, the pharmaceutical death tolls, the public suspicion that there's a better way to do all this, all point to a changing of the guard in healthcare and our traditional understanding of it. There now exists a generation of Americans who have put their relatives and their friends in the ground unnecessarily due to medical complications, opioid overdoses, and procedures gone wrong. Remember at the beginning, the case 1 and case 2, drugs have touched every life. Drug addiction and drug conviction has touched every family. What? That right there. Every single day, patients parrot the plea of, I don't want to end up like so-and-so, fill in the blank with parent, friend, neighbor, or coworker who ended up on 15 medications, open heart surgery, a stint in the psych ward, and checking into the nursing home 20 years ahead of time, just before retirement. All the time, patients say the same thing. I don't want to end up like so-and-so. Go back, or go forward. Go forward again. So we're the answer. We're the future of healthcare. We're the underdog. We're the David. They're the Goliath. We know how that story ended. Drugs are dead. Medical ships burning like rats jumping into the water. Doctors and nurses are waking up to the realization that they will one day become like their patients if something doesn't change. That's why they come here. That's why any time during the year, 40 to 90% of everybody walking in here is medical professional. Yep. So if the nurses and the doctors come here, but your friends and family members are going to the nurses and the doctors. Last but not least, patients seek medical care from blind eye doctors, overweight gastroenterologists, psychiatrists who won't take the very drugs they prescribe, and pediatricians who won't vaccinate their own kids. We're starting a reformation, not a revolution. Revolution means armed citizens. Reformation means new ideas. But I want to say, go on record, I'm not against the idea of armed citizens. It's not a bad idea. I think as time goes on, we're getting closer and closer. But any questions? That's it for me. Any questions on any of that? I just wanted to put together a few little stories along from the last couple of years. The jury duty thing and how that led me down the rabbit trail of figuring out the CSI effect thing and how that affects the perception, the behavior, and the ideas of our entire society is being shaped by the idiot box in the living room of most Americans. And the jurors, the judges, the cops, the lawyers are all seeing it. So if they're seeing it, and I see it every day. I can tell what people watch. It's crazy. So if all of us are being affected by that idiot box, you need to be careful what you put in your eye holes and your ear holes because it'll take up residence. So just be careful. Any questions before we boogie? Call to action. Tell everybody you know. Get them in here. And most of the time when I tell people that, they say, well, of all the people I know, I'm about the only one that would come in here. Well, I get that, and that's been going on for years. When the whole COVID hoax happened, the only people in the families that would ever step foot into a place like this were already here. So that's when everything flipped from being mainly word of mouth, friend and family, to just going to straight online. Everybody who found us online. Because nobody, during the whole COVID hoax, nobody's word of mouth, friend and family referral were coming in. They were all coming in from Facebook and Instagram, So here we are, we're kind of flipping back to that. But tell people, let them know there's a new sheriff in town. We can help them with anything. Anything that walks in this door, we can help them with. As long as they have faith in God and not faith in a dude in a white coat. And some people, they want their faith in a dude in a white coat. And I understand that. But that dude in a white coat always causes more problems. Yes or yes? You were a nurse 35 years? 35 years. 35-year nurse. And you are surrounded here by other nurses. Why do you think that is? So any questions? Going once, going twice. Oh, right on time. I win. Ha! I win. I planned on that. All right, Dr. Brett Spradlin. Oh, what's the next date? September 15th, right here. Same place, different time. September 15th, Monday, 6 o'clock. Wellness workshops. Bring friends, bring family members. Tell them, get them out of the burning ship of medical matrix. Get them out of the meat grinder. Bring them someplace where at least they'll learn to get off the psych meds before they turn on the 5G. All right, Dr. Brett Spradlin, signing off. We'll see you in a month. Yay!